Hey guys, so believe it or not, this is, I think, going to be the last video for the last part of Love That Dog by Sharon Creech, and then we'll get to start on Hate That Cat, which is the sequel. We'll just have to decide if we want to wait um, until after vacation to start that, which we probably should because we're only going to have a couple days left this week, so maybe I'll do something different in the meanwhile. Now, this next poem from May 14th, um, it'll answer some questions that you might have had throughout the book, but it's pretty emotional and it's pretty sad, so I might need to grab a tissue. May 14th. I typed this up myself. My sky. We were outside in the street, me and some other kids, kicking the ball before dinner. And Sky was chasing, with his feet going every which way, and his tail wagging, and his mouth slobbering, and he was all over the place, smiling and wagging and slobbering and making us laugh. And my dad came walking up the street. He was way down there near the end. I could see him after he got off the bus, and he was walking, and I saw him wave, and he called out, "Hey there, son!" And so I didn't see the car coming from the other way until someone else, one of the big kids, called out, "Car!" And I turned around and saw a blue car, splattered with mud, speeding down the road. And I saw Sky going after the ball, wagging his tail, and I called him, "Sky! Sky!" And he turned his head, but it was too late because the blue car, splattered with mud, hit Sky, thud, 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 and kept on going in such a hurry, so fast, so many miles to go, it couldn't even stop. And Sky was just there in the road, lying on his side, with his legs bent funny and his side heaving. And he looked up at me, and I said, "Sky, Sky, Sky!" And then my dad was there, and he lifted Sky out of the road and laid him on the grass. And Sky closed his eyes, and he never opened them again, ever. So now we have some answered questions about the blue car and about why maybe Jack was resistant at first to writing about his pet. But sometimes when you lose a pet or someone, or when you've gone through something that's really hard, like maybe even some of us right now are finding being away from school really hard, sometimes writing about it, writing poems or writing in a journal or writing a story about it or talking to someone about it, all of those things are ways to help to cope with it, right? And it's not going to bring him back, but it can help to remember that person. It can help to help you heal and feel a little better. So that might be something to think about if you feel like at some point you could write about something that's been hard for you, and that could just be personal for you to keep to yourself. You wouldn't have to share with other people, but sometimes it's a good way to deal with something is to write about it. May 15th. I don't know. If you put it on the board and people read it, it might make them sad. May 17th. Oh, I forgot to show you guys the pictures of those other ones. So here's the one that he typed up about Sky. It's a long one. No stanzas, really, as he's describing everything that happened, just line after line after line, until when the car comes. And then he kind of has a new stanza happening again. Long, long, long. And then the end lines. Just really important. One word per line here. Except for closed his eyes together. Sad. May 17th. Okay, I guess I'll put my name on it. But I hope it doesn't make people feel too sad. And if it does, maybe you could think of something to cheer everybody up. Like maybe some of those brownies you make, the chocolate ones that are so good. So I like that Jack is owning his poem. He's brave enough to put it up and to put his name on it. His way of honoring Sky, even though it's sad. And I like that his teacher wants to, he's asking Miss Stretchberry to make some brownies. So that could always be a response to this book too, you know. See if somebody at home could help you make some brownies, either from a box or from scratch. I bet you could look up a recipe online. May 21st. Wow! Wow, 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 wow! That was the best news ever! I can't believe it! Make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen? Mr. Walter Dean Myers is really coming to our school? He was coming to our city anyway to see his old buddy? Oh, what a lovely coincidence for Jack. And he would be honored to visit our clean school and meet the mostly nice kids who like his poems. We sure are lucky that his old buddy lives in our town. Wow! I love Jack's use of italics and capital letters and exclamation points. He's really excited. Do you think Walter Dean Myers is only going there to visit his good buddy, or do you maybe think he plans visit to his old buddy after he got Jack's letter? Maybe. You never know. May 28th. The bulletin board looks like it's blooming words with everybody's poems up there on all those colored sheets of paper. Yellow, blue, pink, red, green. And the bookcase looks like it's sprouting books. All of them by Mr. Walter Dean Myers, lined up, looking back at us, waiting for Mr. Walter Dean Myers himself. So usually if we were at school, we would have a bulletin board with our poems blooming with colors like that too. So instead, I think what I'll do is be able to take some of your poems that you're writing at home, maybe put them in a Google Doc to share with everybody. Lined up, looking back at us, waiting for Mr. Walter Dean Myers himself to come to our school, right into our classroom. Wow! May 29th. I can't sleep. I can't wait. Are you sure you hid my poem that was inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers? I don't want to do anything to upset him. So Jack's feeling a little unsure again. It's to hide his poem away from Mr. Walter Dean Myers. June 1st. Mr. Walter Dean Myers Day. I love how he wrote that there. I never in my whole life ever heard anybody who could talk like that Mr. Walter Dean Myers. All of my blood in my veins was bubbling, and all of the thoughts in my head were buzzing, and I wanted to keep Mr. Walter Dean Myers at our school forever. No, I guess it was a good visit. June 6th. Dear Mr. Walter Dean Myers, thank you 100 million times for leaving your work and your family and your things people have to do to come and visit us in our school, in our class. We hope you liked your visit. We think maybe you did because you were smiling all over the place. And when you read your poems, you had the best voice, low and deep and friendly and warm, like it was reaching out and wrapping us all up in a big squeeze. And when you laughed, you had the best laugh I've ever heard in my life. Like it was coming from way down deep and bubbling up and rolling and tumbling out into the air. We hope we didn't ask you too many questions, but we thank you for answering every which one, and especially for saying that you would be flattered if someone used some of your words, and especially if they added a note that they were inspired by Walter Dean Myers. And it was nice of you to read all of our poems on the bulletin board, and I hope it didn't make you too sad when you read the one about my dog Sky getting smushed in the road. And I think you like the brownies too, right? Thank you for coming to see us, Mr. Walter Dean Myers. Inside this envelope is a poem using some of your words. I wrote it. I was inspired by you, Mr. Walter Dean Myers. From your #1 fan, Jack. I love that thank you letter. That's a really nice, heartfelt thank you note. Just like how we've been talking about, like heartfelt apologies, right? Heartfelt I'm sorry's and why, and heartfelt thank yous and why. That means a lot to people. And here's Jack's poem that he sent him. Love That Dog, inspired by Walter Dean Myers, by Jack. Love that dog like a bird loves to fly. I said, I love that dog like a bird loves to fly. Love to call him in the morning. Love to call him, hey there, Sky. Aww, I'm hiding so you can't see that I might need a tissue. Aww, I love that book. It really makes me feel like I love how you can talk and say words, but you can make them into poetry by painting these words, painting these pictures with words. So we're going to come back and really talk to you about how, Jack described his voice like he used a simile by saying your voice was low and deep and friendly and warm, like it was reaching out and wrapping us all up in a big squeeze. So that simile is comparing his voice to a big squeeze, a big hug. And I really like the description, the personification, when you take something that's not really alive and you turn it alive. So here talking about his laugh, the best laugh I've ever heard in my life, like it was coming from way down deep and bubbling up and rolling and tumbling out into the air. So kind of making that voice, which really isn't something that can roll and tumble, but personifying it to make it seem like it's alive and it's able to do those movements. So we're going to try to incorporate some of those into our poetry writing as well. And I want you all to try to write a love that whatever poem. So just like Love That Dog, and how Jack says, like a bird loves to fly. So his love for his dog, using that simile, is like how much a bird loves to fly, right? We're going to try to use that pattern and write our own love that something or someone poem. So I think we had started thinking about that at another time. That's going to be one of your responses right now too, is I want you to use this poem and I want you to write your own version, love that, whatever. And you're going to share that with me, okay? All right, I hope you love this book as much as I did. And after vacation, we will start on the sequel called Hate That Cat, which I think you'll really love too. Okay, bye guys.